So the average American retires with less than $200,000. But here's what they don't tell you. There's no secret formula that rich people are hiding. You
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily need a certified financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it sound like rocket science, when really it's just what Big Mama taught us. Before we let them convince us she didn't know what she was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Right? It's not rocket science, y'all.
No.
It's not. It's not.
Now, uh, yes, you had a little late 20th century investing access that Big Mama didn't have,
That's right.
but the principles are the same.
That's right.
Wait a minute, Big Mama used to put her money down on her chest. So the real question is, why hasn't anyone been teaching you this?
That's right. That's right. We retired, y'all know, without pensions. We went from a negative net worth to over 1 million in net worth. We didn't follow traditional advice. We built systems, y'all. All right. We built multiple income streams and we've helped hundreds of people move abroad and create financial flexibility. So we're not guessing at this. We're living this. So I want to ask you in the chat, have you ever heard of fire before? Have you? And the reason why I'm asking is because I assumed that everyone watching our Black Utopia knew what fire was, but we've been getting the question a lot lately. So have you ever heard of fire before today? Type yes if you have and no if you have not. All right. And this is your first time. And if you're over 50, drop your age range.
Roundabouts.
50s, 60s, 70s, 40s, 30s.
Roundabouts.
Yeah, just put 50s. You ain't got to put the exact age, right? Because today we're going to show you how how this still works for you. All right. Y'all know that we are all about fire over 50, right? And we're going to tell you what fire means. First, I guess we got to introduce ourselves. Well, wait. Who is coming to the meetup in June? Inquiring minds want to know who is coming to the meetup in June. We still have space available. Every single time we go live, we get in the comments, not the chat, but in the comments, do you still have space? Is it too late? No, it is not too late. Yes, we still do have space. Some of the little ancillary things have sold out, but the main event still has space, and all of the community building events, there is unlimited space. Okay, so all the information is in the description below. Hey, y'all. My name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, we talk about travel, and we talk about life abroad. We help folks who look like us, who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan. We help you get your money straight so that you can retire on time or maybe even early.
And abroad ain't bad either.
Yes. Happy Resurrection Day for all of you who celebrate that.
Yeah.
Happy Easter, if you call it Easter.
Jason Peter Cottontail.
That's right. All right, sweetie. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about why they never taught you about fire, F-I-R-E, and what it cost you. Today we're going to break down what fire really is, what traditional money advice keeps you stuck or why it keeps you stuck, and where fire came from. The simple math behind early retirement.
So you got to stick around because we're going to go over the math and how to use this even if you're starting after 50. Okay. But we are going to say hello to the folks in the chat as well, especially our members. Thank you to our members and our diehards who come back week after week after week after week after week, even on Easter. We appreciate you. And if you're new to the Utopian, welcome. All right. So let's talk right quick and then we'll say hello to the folks who are in the chat. give you kind of some historical framework for the movement that is FIRE. So let's start here. The system was never designed for us to be free. You know that, right? The economic system in the United States was never, ever, ever designed for us to be free. Economic control has always been a part of like the power. Even government documents show how Black autonomy movements were monitored. Hello, right? How Black autonomy was disrupted, right? So when we talk about money, we're not just talking about money for money's sake. We're talking about control. We're talking about freedom. We're talking about survival. FIRE is not just a strategy. FIRE is a way to step outside of the system that expects you to work until you drop. It is the antithesis of the fruit of the slavery tree, which is pure capitalism. It takes pure capitalism and turns it on its head. and so we're gonna tell you about that. We're gonna tell you about that. All right, but let's see who has logged in. Abundance Now is in the now. Saludos. Abundance Life Now says Black Diamond is in the house. Crystal Woodward is in the house. Hey. Allison, of course. How y'all get over here so fast?
I know.
So all of our members, you guys, we meet before we go live. We meet behind the scenes and we chitty chat and we talk about stuff. And people are asking us questions about investing, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you are a member, we have over 200 members, but we never have more than about 25, 35 people meeting with us behind the scenes. So you're missing out.
So you're welcome to come. Yes.
Yeah. Definitely. Every single member is welcome to come.
There'll be some interesting conversations.
Yeah, we do. All you have to do is look at the posts, and there are posts that are for members only, and you will see them. You can even see the old ones, and it's got the link to the Zoom. Okay. So, because Dr. Sanji's in the house, like literally, we were just talking to them. Kimmy Smitty, good to see you. Dita Me is in the house. CK is in the house, and Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
Happy Easter to you too, Cheryl and Miriam, Marcia. We've got Ashira and Octavia. Biz Help Guru is in the house. Shanora. It's funny because I thought they were Bizel for the longest time, y'all. I was not seeing Biz Help Guru.
Bizel?
Until they met with us on a coaching session. And then I was like, oh, I'm a little slow sometime, y'all. Got to give me a break. Hey, Sarah, good to see you. And Benita. All right, you guys. Sharon Smith is in the house. All right, y'all. We love you so much. Thank you. I hope all of you are having some family time, some rest time during this. Spring break is a good time to do house sitting because some people like to go out of town, and you can go out of town and stay at somebody else's house, love up on some pets, right? And get free accommodations. So, yep. All right. What FIRE actually is?
FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. But let's define it correctly. FIRE uses market returns to buy freedom from work rather than to maximize consumption.
So the principles of FIRE are not about making money to buy more crap.
More stuff.
The principles of FIRE are about making and saving more money to buy time, to buy freedom. Freedom from having to clock in, okay? And this is key.
Most people use money to buy stuff, upgrade a lifestyle. And FIRE users buy time and they buy freedom. Mm-hmm. Freedom units.
That's right.
This is why it's an aberration of pure capitalism. Capitalism expects you to work, spend, and repeat.
That's right.
Work, spend, repeat. Work, spend, repeat.
Right?
Yeah. FIRE says save, invest, and exit.
That's right. So if you Let us know in the chat, and if you're watching from the future, hey, let us know in the comments. If you are part of, I don't want to say the FIRE movement, but if you are on the path to financial independence, let us know in the chat. Yes, you're on the path of financial independence, or if you've already fired, let us know in the chat. And so I just want to say there are levels to FIRE, and you might have heard of, if you haven't heard of FIRE, you probably haven't heard of any of the rest of this. So for those of you who haven't heard of any of it, we're just going to say, there's nomenclature, but people call it different stuff. So the highest level, they kind of call fat FIRE, PHAT, not FAT, PHAT, fat FIRE, which means you're living large. Okay. And so that number could be, double what your income is. And you need that plus the formula, and that's what you need to retire. And then there's just regular FIRE, which is like a, medium income. You're just going to kind of keep it even, with the current expenses and assume some things, right? And so that's plain just FIRE. And there is a formula to that. The formula, I will tell you the formula after I say the last one. The last one is lean FIRE, or coast FIRE, or barista FIRE. There's lots of different names. Basically, that's what Rick and I achieved, because you remember, we're late bloomers, right? We started late with this thing. And so that just means that we don't necessarily have to save any more money. We've saved enough money, and if it continues to grow, we're going to be just fine. But we might need extra money to maintain a certain lifestyle. We might need extra income, cash flow, to maintain a certain lifestyle. Okay. So that's what barista FIRE. So barista FIRE in that, they're just working at, doing a barista job, 2 days a week, 3 days a week for some extra income. That's where that came from. So financial independence, retire early. It is, even if you are 60, that doesn't mean that you can't use the principles of FIRE. You might say, well, it's too late for me to retire early. Yeah, but when did you plan to retire? And are you going to be able to retire the way you want to retire? That's the question. Okay. And so when we talk about FIRE over 50, we understand that, 57 for those who have government jobs and stuff like that, 57 is probably the cutoff. Depending upon how long you've been there, right? And a lot of people are retiring at 56, 57, 58. So you're like, hey, I'm 52. It's already too late for me to retire early. But it just depends. Because like Rick and I, we didn't think that we could ever retire.
No, we didn't.
We had no idea how we were going to stop working. No idea. So that is the deal. I want to see what you all are talking about. You guys know the deal. Put a Q in front of your question or comment, and we will mark them. And the other thing that I want to know on the path. Okay. All right. So the question was, are you on the path to financial freedom, or have you hit FIRE? So we've got some people who have hit FIRE. Congratulations. Let's everybody give them a round of applause, because I'm telling you, if you did not have good sense when you were younger, like I didn't, right? Sometimes shit just happens. Look, I was like, when such and such happens, that's when I'll start saving like I need to. When this happens, then. And you know what? Those things never, ever happened. They never happened. Okay. Happy Bunny Day. Okay. I think I've got everybody's stuff here. Yeah, everybody give them some applause, because, I retired military, considered FIRE. If yes, then I'm FIRE. I'm retired. Is retired military considered FIRE? Maybe. If you say it is, then it is, because there's no laws or rules or anything like that.
You know what you need,
right? But if you believe that you are financially independent, then you are financially independent. everybody who retires from the military is not necessarily financially independent. I think it depends on, how long you were in there and how much you're getting, right? So I see I'm retired. We're lean fire. Yes, on the path, lean fire, very close to lean fire. All right, on the path. Congratulations, you guys. Congratulations, CK Fire. CK. When are you moving?
You know that was coming, right? You know it was coming.
When are you moving? On the path, en route, on the path. Okay, on the path. I want everyone who is watching to be on the path at the very least, right?
Oh, yeah.
At the very least, on the path, because y'all know some stuff is coming. It is coming. And we need, adhering to these principles can only help you through the difficult times that are coming, because they are coming, and it's all a self-inflicted wound. It is so crazy that we are at the hands of this little melon felon tyrant. It is just, the rest of the world thinks America is on drugs, y'all. They're like, I can't figure, you guys are just stuck on stupid. For real, though. They really do. They really do. And they're like, y'all don't be educating nobody. And they're talking mad time stuff. I hope you guys, I'm sorry, I'm trying to correct this. I hope that you guys are getting feeds from outside of the United States as far as the news goes. Please do. Please do. All right, let's get back to the subject matter. Yeah, I'm just saying. I am just saying. Okay. We got to get, Michelle is fat fire. All right. Since 2013. Okay, she's one of the OGs. There's a couple of utopians that were part of the fire movement from way back. From way back. Right? Okay, so let's talk about conventional wisdom, right? Because a lot of y'all come to us and you have been under the tutelage of a Dave Ramsey, of a Susie Orman, right? Not that what they say is 100% incorrect. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that some white folks just be white folking. You know what I mean? Not talking about our spicy whites. I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So Ramsey said the borrower is always a slave to the lender. Interesting nomenclature, interesting wording there, but he's right. He's right. And live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else. Though that is kind of a fire principle. That is kind of a fire principle. But here's the issue. It's self-centered, it's slow, and it assumes that you're going to be working 30 to 40 years. And if you are on the younger side, I'm here to tell you there could be a way. I don't know how much debt you have, but there could be a way for you to retire in if you have nothing saved or very little saved in 8 to 10 years. Okay, you do not have to work 30 to 40 years. You just do not. And I would like to say to the people who are younger, 15 years. Like if you're in your 20s, give it 15 years. Plan your exit. Plan your exit. So because if you're planning to exit within 15 years, you are heavy duty saving, paying off debt, saving, investing, saving, investing. All right. So 30 to 40 years of work, that's the traditional thing. That's what we were talking about on Thursday, right? Like that does not work anymore. It doesn't work for our psyche. It never really did, because 30 to 40 years of insults, 30 to 40 years of all of those microaggressions, all those racist microaggressions, and sometimes macroaggressions. Tell me that that does not lessen your lifespan. Seriously. Tell me that that does not lessen your lifespan. And Dave Ramsey is like the king of shaming people for debt, et cetera, et cetera. But he never, ever, 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 ever talks about the systems that create the circumstances. It's always an individual's fault. And I'm not saying that our choices do not have consequences, but to negate the fact that the system is not made for normal folk to necessarily succeed, and just to act like that doesn't exist, is disingenuous at the very least, right? And just straight out a lie and evil at the worst. So, yeah. Susie Orman said, you cannot afford to retire early. Susie Orman is like so anti-fire. Why? Because then she stopped selling books. I remember she got interviewed by, I want to say, Paula Pant back in the day. And she has convinced herself that there is no way that you can retire early. And it was mostly based upon the fact that healthcare is so expensive and you have to have at least, I don't know. It seemed to me that she was saying something like $4 to $6 million saved to make sure that you could always afford your healthcare.
Was she talking about living in the U.S.?
Of course. Of course. Right? So that's number one. The assumption is that you're going to stay in the United States. But what does that say about a country that you have to retire with millions and millions in your bank account just to make sure that you can afford your health care? You all know that that is not normal, that most other, so-called, developed nations do not operate that way. It does not make sense. It does not make sense at all. And that's why they think we're crazy. That's why they think we're crazy. I follow a guy who teaches personal finance, mostly debt freedom. Cool. Here on YouTube. He got a job with Capital One in their tech department, and they told him he can no longer post on his YouTube channel. Read the fine print, you all, when you take the WIFO job. All right? See how they keep you enslaved? See? They want this man, was it a male? Guy. They want this man enslaved to that one income. I might find another job if I were him. That's for doggone sure. That's for doggone sure. As a matter of fact, I remember when I was working for the entertainment companies, and I want to say, of course, when you work in entertainment, they say anything that you create is theirs, regardless of whether you create it on your own time or not. And I remember I was working on some stuff, and I got that stuff taken out of my contract. I'm like, no. First right of refusal, maybe, but I was working on stuff with my mom and my dad. We were writing screenplays and stuff. It's like, these people want to own you. They want to own you, but they will let you go like that. Like that. When President Johnson withdrew the 40 acres and a mule commitment, was it Johnson or Jackson? I thought it was Andrew Jackson. Jackson? Was it Andrew Jackson or Andrew Johnson? I don't know. I know it was the one right after Reconstruction, or the one who just gave away Reconstruction. Anyway, you're about to look it up, aren't you?
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure
somebody in it. CK, you would. Oh, this is CK. Okay, when President Johnson withdrew the 40 acres and a mule commitment to the freed folks, we had to start making our own way to prosperity. Right, exactly. We knew then that we could not trust the government to do what they say they're going to do for us. Right? They may do that stuff for some other folks, but they already proved that yeah, but y'all over there, we gonna find a way not to give it to you, right? And that's what they do. And so it is incumbent upon us to put ourselves in a position not to have to depend on these folks specifically. Now, obviously, with fire, we do have to depend upon the system doing certain things, like the stock market not totally collapsing indefinitely, right? That and then we have probably bigger issues like a zombie apocalypse or some such. I'm sorry, y'all. I am marking your guys' questions, and then I'm going to continue on. And we're going to keep it short since it's Easter. Who's cooking? Let us know. You guys cooking? I didn't really. I made some fried rice with our leftover steak from yesterday.
And it was good.
Was it good, sweetie?
It was good.
Good. Good. Yeah, see that? Yeah, I know how to stretch stuff, y'all. Dave Ramsey reminds me of my daughter's great grandparents with the debt shaming. They were very fundamentalist in their beliefs about a lot of things. They also had a lot of money to never carry debt. See, and that's the thing. You know, it's really easy for those who had the Andrew Johnson. It was Andrew Johnson. Okay. Why did I think Andrew Jackson? 1865. Anyway, who have had the luxury of having wealth passed down, right? And never having to consider the fact that there were people doing the right things that looked like us back in those days, but did not have the opportunity to take advantage of the GI Bill or VA loans or FHA loans, et cetera, right? So Susie Orman, getting back to her, she was like, people think they have more money than they do. So don't be retiring early. Her framework was always like, fear-based, right? Conservative, and you know, delay retirement, delay. She used to always say that stuff. And it seemed for a moment that she didn't have a problem with the fire movement, but by the time she was on Paula Pant's podcast, she was over it. And she probably saw her stock going down. So the problem with both like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman's take is both frame money as something to manage, not something to escape with, right? Like money, you know, it's funny because I think Stephanie was saying, was that yesterday? What's today? Yeah, I guess that was yesterday, that she doesn't think money's not real. And I understand what she means, that it is only as real as the value that we put upon it. Because when you know that the United States only gets like 0.02% of their gas and oil through the Strait of Hormuz, and yet it's gone up 50 cents to $1. For what reason? While they're releasing all of these reserves and stuff? Because they can. That's what that's about. It's not based upon anything. And when I see some of these videos about what the grocery prices are, like $8 and $10 for a can of ragu, not even the good pasta sauce. Not that any jarred pasta sauce is that good, but you know what I mean. The one that you don't have to doctor up as much. It has less crap in it, right? So yeah, money, I love, I don't know who coined that freedom points, right? Every dollar is buying you moments of freedom, moments for you to get to choose what you want to do with that moment in time. Not, we were talking earlier about asking for time off on a job and stuff. And I was talking about, I've been blessed in that I haven't had to ask somebody for time off since like 2008, 2009. Yeah. Any job that I got, so that was my first job after getting master's degree. Any job after that, I was like, first of all, I already know I'm not going to be reporting to a bunch of buffoons and stuff. That's what's not going to happen. So, so after that, I told people when I was taking time off, I never had to ask again. And we shouldn't have to. We're grown ass adults. Everyone should be able to say, I am taking time off at this time, especially if you give enough advance notice and they have time to cover you and all of that stuff, right? No. So, Susie Orman and Dave Ramsey, for the most part, I never really hear them talking about high savings rates.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Do y'all? I certainly never hear them talk about early exit strategies, like how to get this thing done lickety split so that you're not having to clock in your go-go years. Like, had we been able to retire even 5 years earlier, that would have made a lot of difference, right? Because you're grown enough that you've got some money, but your body is still, young enough that you've got a good 30 go-go years as opposed to 15 go-go years or 20 go-go years, right? So they don't be talking about early exit strategies or building optionality, right? And then for us, this is a problem.
Yeah.
This is a problem because it makes a lot of assumptions that people who don't look like us are free to make. They have the luxury to make because they live a privileged lifestyle and they don't have to worry about all of the crap that we have to go through and worry about.
And we're barely paid what we're worth.
Rarely.
Paid.
Right? Rarely are we paid what we're worth. I'm telling you. Y'all know that there's always that black tax. Right? That black tax that increases our expenses. Sometimes it is that we don't have access to networks that other communities do, so we don't find out about things. That's a black tax. Like, for instance, I did not know that if you bought your parents a home, be it a multifamily home, like a duplex or a triplex, or a house or a condo, that you could get an FHA loan if your parent or parents live in that home. If it's a duplex, triplex, as long as they live in one unit, you can get an FHA loan. We should be teaching that stuff in high school. So 3% down on a 4-unit apartment building, basically? Yes. These are the things that other folks know that our communities don't know. And so the 40-year strategy will literally kill us between the microaggressions, the lack of resources and knowledge and networks and access. It's y'all. All right. So it was Andrew Johnson. I don't know why I thought Jackson. And in my mind, or maybe I'm thinking about another president altogether. I don't know. Benita wants everybody to know that she and her hubby are packing. They are packing. Okay. They are packing to move. And she wants to make sure that all of the utopians are cheering her along. Okay.
Which we are.
Okay. Okay. Thank y'all for the history lesson. And then who is the one that became president through a compromise? The compromise was that they would take the Southerners person as the vice president if they just dropped the case about counting the ballots again or something like that. Like it's called the something compromise. You know what I'm talking about. It's around the same time. Y'all know this stuff. Keep us. They do, Allison. They do. They want to keep us financially ignorant. They do.
But we don't have to let them.
No. Okay. And so share our Black Utopia with your friends, y'all. Please share our Black Utopia, because when I hear when folks call us for a one-on-one coaching session and I hear some of the information that folks have been fed or the lack of information, I realize that there's still huge swaths of our community that don't have all of the right information. Okay. We always have a book list. If I haven't put it in there yet, I'll put it in, but you can look at last week's. We always have a book list and it's on our website too, ourblackutopia.com. All right. We've got free resources. We've got an investing FAQ. It's free. Okay. Just to get you started to thinking the right way. All right. Go to our website, ourblackutopia.com, and go under resources and get all of the free stuff. All the books that we suggest are there too. And a lot of these books are audio and you can get them from your library and just listen to them while you do your exercise, your chores, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. All right. So Valerina says, what is the level above lean or coast? Fat fire? Is there any, or just fat? Yeah, just fat. So there's lean, then there's just fire. Lean and coast are the same thing.
Correct.
Okay.
So you have just fire.
So then fire,
fire
just
fire.
Yeah.
Lean.
So fat fire, lean, or coast fire, or barista fire. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. Working on the shift to fat fire within the next 2 years. Wow. Okay. I'm not mad at you. Not at all. We probably would if we traveled less.
You want to travel less?
No, I don't want to travel less. We're already kind of getting the bug. And he can't go anywhere because he's still on crutches, y'all. He's still on crutches. I have a plan to visit Portugal and want to stay, but I'll go to my other places. I'm looking to work towards fire. Okay. Yeah, it just depends on what income you're at, right? Like this living here in Portugal for us was a lot less expensive from where we moved from than Denver. So, number one, we didn't need the same amount of money. And number two, because we didn't need the same amount of money, we only need a little bit more to add to our savings if we wanted to get to fat fire or even just not have to do this anymore. So, yeah. All right, where were we at? I'm 37 and I hope to retire early. Yes, Joanna. Okay. See, we got some young folks watching. I'm pooped. I really am. I have a hard job. Yeah, I know, right? Like when I was your age, I had a small child as well. Small, I mean, not baby, but I don't know. I can't remember how old he was. Maybe about 8, 9, still enough to just like, here we go. Wash the clothes, make the food, help with the homework, all the stuff. And you're tired. And you got to deal with the microaggressions, right? It's a lot. And the fact that they have conned us into believing that this is what we should want to do for the majority of our lives is absolutely bananas. And I really do think the church had something to do with this too. right? Emphasizing the parts of the Bible that talked about work ethics and all of this other stuff. And it's interesting to me that we, like, back in the 60s, you could live off of one income. And a lot of women stayed home, not just white women. A lot of Black women were able to stay home as well, or they worked part time. As soon as women fought for the right to have their own checking account, credit cards, this or that or the other, and work, right? It's interesting how the economy totally switched, and all of a sudden you had to have two jobs in order to make ends meet.
Yes.
I believe that was by design, because think about it. If we could still live off of one income, if the average family could still live off of one income, but the average family had two, that'd be a lot of folks who had the freedom to vote differently because they had the freedom and the time to do more research, and stuff, right? I think folks would be working a lot less, right? There'd probably be a lot more early retirement. There'd be a lot more people. Yeah. See, a lot more people educating their kids, being able to afford to educate their kids, and all of the stuff. That's too much power. That's the power that we had back for a short period of time in the 50s and 60s. When I say us, I don't mean Black people, I mean Americans in general, when the corporations weren't running everything. I like to take a little bit from Susie, Dave, and you two, and anyone else who has knowledge, if it makes sense for my particular situation. Yeah, I listened to Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman about this much, but I can't trust people who don't seem to have love in their hearts. You know what I mean? If your natural place to go is to the negative, I'll find the information out someplace else. There's lots of folks talking about this. I don't need to hear from you. So the macro aggressions literally kill us. They do, right, Ailey? They really do. Biz Help says my son will probably fire before us, but that's okay by me. Yeah. He got the memo. All right. You know, I wish we could say that. When I gave notice, I thought I would be nervous, but I am at peace. Be at peace, Allison.
Yeah.
See your life year after year after year. Envision it the way you want it to be, and then go out there and do the damn thing. Seriously. Sadly, the majority of us 60 and older were taught to accept the microaggressions. You're right, Monica. You're right. It didn't become a crime until recently. And it ain't a crime no more, it looks like, right? Our parents were the generation that couldn't look white in the face. Well, my parents could, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess it depends on where you grew up.
Depending on where you were.
Yeah, because we grew up in California, and there's no way on God's green earth that Sister Soldier and Malcolm X won't go be looking whitey in the face. Oh my goodness gracious! Could you imagine? Now their parents, yeah, right? Like my maternal grandparents were born in like the 1919, 1918, like that, right? Yeah, no, they weren't looking nobody in the face. But my parents, part of the flower child generation and all that, they weren't playing. They were not playing. It was stick it to the man. This bankrupter in chief says there is no money for social services like housing, healthcare, and so on. Of course not, Allison.
But there's money for the military.
There's money for the war, no food for the poor, right? And happy Easter, Dennis. Happy Easter, and thank you. These TV financial experts think of retirement in a traditional American context. Yes, yes, yes. They never talk about the option of living abroad where the quality of life is much cheaper. No, because who would want to move from the United States, the best country on earth?
I did.
Right? Thank you, Dennis, for the donation. As always, y'all know that 100% of our donations go to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. Beyond the Bling is our financial freedom program. All right. All is like fire over 50. Everything that we learned in there to go from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth is in that program. Also, I didn't even say that earlier. So subscribe, y'all. We're noticing that 50% of you guys are not subscribed. Y'all are watching and not subscribed, right? Make sure you hit that notification bell and share the information, y'all. Share the information. Thank you, Dennis. We love you. We appreciate you. The community appreciates you. I am slow cooking corned beef and greens and cornbread. So you cooking. All right. I see, we stopped celebrating Easter, it seems, after my grandmother passed away, and then all the kids, and we didn't do it together. We used to have Easter egg hunts and all of that kind of stuff in the backyard at grandma's house. When I was a kid. In my case, at 66, having a pension has made a huge difference. Yep. No debt, house paid off, healthy 401k, no need for Social Security yet. Buying the dip is scary this time. Yes, real justice. It is. And so when she says buying the dip, what does she mean?
It means buying the stock when it goes
down.
It drops.
Yeah, right. Or buying an index fund whatever as the market goes down, which it is doing now. Yes and no, right? Yes and no. And so the question is, when are you going to need that money? If your 401k is healthy and you are healthy and you anticipate living another 20 to 25 to 30 years plus, the money that you're putting in now buying the dip, when will you need that? So that's what I would ask myself. Okay. If you can say, well, shoot, I'm not going to need it for at least another decade and a half, you're probably good. But if you're saying, I'm going to need that in the next 5 to 7 years, I might be a little bit more cautious as well. So we are not financial advisors, y'all. We are financial educators. Okay. We are not certified, financial advisors. Y'all know that, right? Okay. Let's keep it moving. These people quietly dismiss FIRE. Traditional advisors warn you might run out of money, right? That's what they be saying. What else do they say?
Don't retire early. What they're really saying is stay in the system.
That's right. FIRE says build enough so you don't have to stay in the system, right? So where FIRE came from, it was popularized by a Coloradan. His name is Pete Adney, and y'all might know him as Mr. Money Mustache. And so any of you who are in Beyond the Bling, or maybe got the Ready to Retire Toolkit, if you haven't gotten the Ready to Retire Toolkit, y'all, these are the basics, okay? In the Ready to Retire Toolkit are the basics to get you started. It is free and in the description below. Please start there, okay? Do yourself a favor and start there, unless you've already fired in some kind of way, or you're already on the journey, right? Then maybe you don't need it. But for everyone else, seriously, y'all, there is a better way. There's an easier way, and it's not rocket science. No. It is not rocket science. I'm trying to tell you, all right? So Mr. Money Mustache is one of the founders of this movement, and it's based upon the book, Your Money or Your Life, all right? And so the core idea It's simply that every dollar you save
buys you freedom. Freedom units.
every dollar you save buys you some freedom. And black folks, we need us some freedom, don't we? Don't we? Right? So the simple math, and this is the game changer, right? The simple math is that, and go ahead.
I was going to say this is a part most people miss. It's not about your income.
It's not about your income,
It's
y'all.
about your savings rate.
That's right.
If you save 10%, 40 years,
You're going to be working for 40 years. All right. If you're only saving 10% of your income, bank on working 40 years.
If you only save 50%, if you save 50%, then you'll be working 15 years.
70%, 10 years. So that's why Christina and Aman of Our Rich Journey were saving 70% plus. I think it was like 73% or something. I don't remember at this point. Rick and I were saving 65% plus. 65% of our income. Baby, when you want freedom, you don't care about no Coach bag, no red bottoms, no extra latte, chai, whatever. For real though. Like, I used to donate to everything. I stopped. Not, I didn't want to stop, but I wanted my freedom more than I felt the need to donate to these causes. Now, I've slowly started donating a little bit back, but I'm much more selective, and I'm not donating at the same rates. And that's after a few years of being retired and saying, okay, we got this. And when I say very little, I mean, like if I was giving $25 a month back in the day, it's like $5 a month. Because we're not working. And I'm not planning to go back to work, and I don't want to work harder. And we still need to travel.
We need to travel.
All right. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with the math, y'all. And it's kind of like we said, Big Mama already knew this stuff. She already knew this stuff. Okay. So you need less. When you need less, you get to save less, right? If you need less to live, if you can live well on $3,000 a month, let's just say, well, not in the States, but there's a lot of places on the planet where you could live well on $3,000 a month. That means it takes less money to get you to your retirement number, your FIRE number, right? The formula is, and I want you to take this with a little bit of grain of salt and probably be more conservative. How conservative? I don't know yet, y'all, because we are just in the topsy-turvy times. Right? We're just in topsy-turvy times. Right? And so right? And so I don't know. But the formula is, okay, let's go with the 3,000. If you can live well on $3,000 a month, that's $36,000 a year. And so the formula simply is your annual expenses times 25. Your annual expenses, not your annual salary. Not your annual salary, your annual expenses. There should be a difference. All right. So 36,000 times 25 gets you 900,000. Not Susie Orman's 6 million. Now, if that were my number, and so this is for full fire. This is not for coast fire. This is for full fire. And not necessarily fat fire. I don't think $36,000 a year is fat fire. Hardly anywhere. Maybe there's a few places that you would want to live where that's fat fire, but for the most part, that's probably just fire or lean fire. In any event, I'm saying people are living well in a lot of places on that amount of money. As a matter of fact, our budget here is about that amount of money, not including the extra travel. Okay? So it can be done. It can be done, right? So if you need less, you get to build faster, right? So 25 times expenses, that's it, right? That's the deal. Rick and I found that we got just as much, well, I'm not going to speak for you. I got just as much of a thrill buying a share of stock as I did from buying something from Nordstrom's. Seriously, because when I would see it's like, okay, this is for future Halisi's freedom. That's what I just bought. Future Halisi's freedom. And whatever I was going to buy at Nordstrom was for a short-term feel good for present Halisi. So present Halisi can feel good. Not even thinking about future Halisi. Because present Halisi is too depressed to think about future Halisi. Because present Halisi thinks it's always going to be like this. And it will if you continue to spend on crap you don't need. And the last thing I ever needed is another some dress or something from Nordstrom's. The last thing I needed was something else from Nordstrom's, something else from Amazon, besides vitamins and things like that. The last thing, I'm telling you, I'm going to get, so someone is asking, how do we sign up for the meetup? You didn't put the notes in there, did you? Did you?
No.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to get the link and put it in, or maybe I'm not going to. Maybe I'm not going to. Let me see if I can get it right here and put it in the chat over on this other computer right quick. So it's bit.ly/2026 OBU meetup, but I'm going to put it in the chat. Sorry, y'all. Okay, I just put it in the chat. All right. So I think there's a direct through line between the FIRE movement and minimalism. And some people, I remember when we first started on this pathway, and I was telling younger people, and they're like, "Oh, so does that mean like you never go out to eat, or you never go to a movie, or this or that and the other?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not saying that at all. But we don't go out to eat any old time we want. We don't go to a movie any old time we want. Movies were not that expensive in Denver, but going out to eat, we were spending a lot. We were spending about $1,000 a month on restaurant food. Now, and this was way back. This was in 2018, 2019, like that, right? And there's just no reason for that. There's just no reason. So, especially when you only have $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 saved, and you're over 50, and you spending $1,000 a month on restaurant food, we did not have our priorities straight, y'all. We did not. Okay, so Cogitate says that the rule about FHA loans, here, let me put it back up, applies for your child as well. Okay, so I would be waiting if I were to buy something in the United States. I would be waiting. I would be waiting for the fit to hit the sham, because it's going to hit the sham, and prices are going to drop. Unfortunately, but that's what I think. I lived in the hood, but went to a suburban middle school. They taught about mutual funds. while the high school nearby taught my friends how to open a checking account.
Mhm.
I went to Beverly Hills High School, but of course, I'm probably older than you. They did not teach us about mutual funds. And the reason why I say I'm older, because back in those days, just to walk in the door, you had to have
You
like
had to have a
25.
lot of money.
You had to have like $25,000, right? 401ks and stuff like that were not as prevalent back in those days. They were just getting started when I was in high school. So you went to a good school because they weren't trying to talk about that even at Beverly Hills High. Um, Black Diamond says, I felt financially illiterate most of my adult life. It was truly by design because I was taught how to be a good wife and keep house, right? Not to prosper financially, right? It is, and I really do think it is by design because they want us to be cogs in the system. I find it very interesting that they don't teach entrepreneurship for the most part in high school, right? That's not, they were teaching shop, they were teaching what was it called, homemaking or
Home
whatever,
economics.
home economics or whatever, where you learn to sew and cook
Cook
and
and
all of this nonsense, right? um but they didn't teach entrepreneurship. I find, that lets you know what the system expects from us. And just as we were talking about on Thursday, we need to, every single one of us needs to have an entrepreneurial mind. We got to get out, even if you've got one of those good government pensions, y'all, who the person who retired from the military, right? We know people who are retiring with $6,000 military pensions, and then they get a little Social Security on top of that, and to have that much money coming in, and you don't even have to worry about what's in your 401k, your brokerage account, and stuff like that. Yeah, that is some fat
nice.
fire.
Yeah.
And what if it goes away? Are you prepared? Are you prepared? No, I hope it doesn't because I want it too. I'd like some Social Security. I done worked a long time and I want me some Social Security. But I also know that we are living in times where things that we never thought would happen in our lifetime are happening, y'all. Okay? They're happening, and we cannot bury our heads in the sand. So while we can pray and hope for the best, we need to prepare for the worst. And getting the entrepreneurial mindset and the fire mindset today should be mission critical, right? Mission critical. Hey, Killer Queen. Yes,
Good
Rick did
queen.
not have total knee replacement, but he did have knee surgery. And she's wishing you a speedy
Thank you.
recovery.
Thank you.
They use those other kind of crutches here, the ones that go around your hands, right? Um, yeah, those are. I mean, they have those in the States,
Your
but they're
forearms.
rare.
Yeah.
They're rare, and they just clickety clackety click click clack, all up and down the hallway. We don't have carpet here. We have hardwood floors. Why do they gaslight us to think the black tax doesn't exist? Because if they admitted it, then they would have to do something about it. And they don't want to do anything about it, right? They like the power brokers today literally say that there is no such thing as racism. There is only reverse discrimination, and that white men are the ones who are most discriminated against in the United States. What do you do with that? Like, what do you do with that? That's like somebody saying cats bark and dogs meow, period, the end. It doesn't matter what you say. We'll listen to that. It doesn't matter. That's the way it is. That's how crazy these people are. It does not matter what reality is, because if they admit it, then they have to do something about it. And quite frankly, they are comfortable and they are fine just the way things are when it comes to that stuff, when it comes to the inequalities and inequities that those of us who call ourselves Black have had to endure since before the inception of the United States. Right? All right. Real Justice says everyone graduating from high school should understand how to obtain high yield savings checking accounts. Yeah, and they should also understand how debt works, how that interest rate works, how credit cards work, how that interest rate works, how to stay out of debt, how not to get into it in the first place, right? They need to understand at the end of the day, obviously, if you're making minimum wage, I don't know what to say, right? But once you get to a certain level, at the end of the day, it's just about savings rate. It's just about savings rate. Like I've said, Rick and I never, ever made six figures. And now six figures don't mean shit, apparently, with these prices the way they are. But it is just about saving. Now, obviously, if you never make anything more than $40,000 to $50,000 a year for your whole life, it's going to be very hard to retire with fat fire. But that doesn't mean you can't retire, because I've known too many like public school teachers and things like that who have retired as millionaires. Okay. So it can be done. It can be done. And I think it can be done without, especially for those who started early, right? Without having to make, catastrophic sacrifices. Nobody wants to live a miserable life on the way there. You want to enjoy the journey. When I gave my notice, they were all taken by surprise. In fact, they are still reeling from the shock. Don't you just love it?
Sounds like you enjoying this, Allison.
You're retiring? Did anybody say, Allison, did anybody say, how can you do that? How are you able to do that? BizHelp says, Mr. Money Mustache has some good ideas. If keeping up with the Joneses is your problem. Yep. He made his home a co-working space and rented space out. You just have to pay for a server, I guess, so you have faster internet.
That's simple.
You guys, there are so many ways to make money. Okay? We have to get out of our own way. We have to get out of this version and vision that we have of what success is supposed to look like. What is acceptable ways to make money and which ways aren't acceptable, right? To me, legal, ethical is acceptable. Period. The end. I don't care if it's cleaning houses or renting your space out or anything, in between, right? Seriously, y'all. Make that money. Susie Orman resides on an island outside the U.S. and is probably getting all kind of tax haven bullshit going on and everything else. Some of these people, I just tell you, it's really, really easy to sit on a high horse, right? And shame people for their financial circumstances while asking them to pay goob gobs of money for you to talk down to them for a couple of days to teach them how to manage their money.
Okay.
She probably wasn't even well off until people started paying her goob gobs of money to teach them how to save money and stay out of debt. So if you don't know, it does not cost goob gobs of money to sign up for Beyond the Bling. It's just a couple of $100, y'all. Just a couple of $100. And we can teach you how to do it a lot better than Susie Orman does. Believe me when I tell you. Anyway, this country is a cesspool. If they want to stay, have at it. I'm out of here. The stock market will always beat the returns on a general savings account. Yes. Yes. In the end, yes. But there could be periods of time, because I've seen it. Let's just take $1,000 you put in your savings account, $1,000 you put in an investment account. 3 months from now, you might have $800 in that investment account if you haven't added anything more to it. But you still have that $1,000 in your savings account. That's why I say at the end of the day, you're going to be better off with your money in the stock market, but not in the short term necessarily, all right? And so it has to be future money. We used to say, had the Black woman gotten elected, we'd be saying it's money that you need like 5 years out, so to speak, all right? Now I'm saying more like 10 years out to 15, because we got a titty baby melon felon in office. And that's what America decided to do. And he's effing up the world economy again. Every single time Republicans get in, this is what they do. Every single time. Every single time. They F up the world economy. Bush did it. Trump 1 did it because he couldn't manage COVID with his dumb behind. And now he's doing it again. These people. I don't know why. I do not know why. They're just very, very, very good at marketing. That's why people vote for their dumb behinds, because they never do what they say they're going to do. Now, I'm not saying the Democrats do what they say they're going to do either, but they don't be effing stuff up so badly. They don't be making it too much better either. That's another story for another day. My friends and I are all in our 30s and thankful for platforms like yours. Oh, thank you, Mel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thankful for platforms like yours that teach us early about finances. Yes, husband and I will be leaving US in 2027 at the age of 37, investing since 2018. Yes, yes, yes. I wish I had as much sense as you when I was your age. I wish. So kudos, congrats, and we are happy for you. Keep us posted, all right? Keep us posted. Let us know where you are along the way, right? So we can continue to cheer you on. The reason they don't want people to retire early is because we will be taking money out of the system.
Mm-hmm.
Their system, especially when we retire and move abroad. Yes. Yeah, they want us enslaved. And there's more than one reason, because like we said before, if you are tired, you come home I'm just saying, do I have to deal with this? Can I just get a beer and watch the game? That's how they want us, so that they can do the big grift like they're doing right now, right? While they're changing laws and trading their stock ahead of time, right? Because they can time the market, because they know how they're going to influence it while Congress is doing this kind of stuff. Because they've been doing that. This is not just about the titty baby melon felon, right? They've been doing this kind of stuff because we're so tired, and they have not raised the minimum wage, and they keep us tired while everything else continues to go up. We don't have enough mental energy to pay attention to what they're doing. It's like, it's not broke yet, right? Okay, it's not broke. Okay, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Well, it's broke now. It's broke. I waited until my 25th anniversary and got me a Coach bag as my gift. Ha. Yeah, for Fat Fire folks, online Coach, the outlet from the Coach store online, it's like 80% off, y'all. 80% off. Seriously. It's like regular prices, regular price stuff that doesn't have a label. So I used to only use the big banks. Now part of my money is with Marcus by Goldman Sachs, earning around 4% interest. That's pretty good for today. Yeah, on savings and no penalty CDs. That's a pretty good interest rate. I might have to check them out. I might have to slide a little money over there. See what's going on. Me too. I get excited buying stocks and researching them, right? Right? I mean, it used to be, my eyes would glaze over when I walked into the Nordstrom shoe department. And I'd see all the shoes and all the bling bling on the shoes. And it's like, oh, because no matter what weight you are, the shoes always fit. Right? The shoes always fit. I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to go into no changing room and do all of the things. Yes, yes, yes. Give me Nordstrom shoe department any day of the week. All right, we're going to keep it moving. Trying to mark the last of these so we can get to them before we let y'all go. Because I know y'all cooking, you need family time and all of that stuff. Yeah, they are full of crap. They are. And they know it. But they're not going to admit it. Okay, let me stop reading and start marking. Because you guys are all in the chat talking to each other and everything else. Susie Orman started out as a waitress at a diner. No way. No, I never heard that. Have you heard that, sweetheart?
Nope. I don't barely know who she is.
You know who she is.
Oh, I know who she is.
Yeah, I don't be paying that much attention to her either. I used to for a moment there. So Nordstrom's is closing in the Dallas Galleria, huh? Okay. All right, you got it. Okay. All right. All right. So 25 times your expenses. That's what we're talking about. That's the magic number. Now, as I said, I would probably be a little bit more conservative than that. So you can be more conservative to say 30 times expenses, or, the 25 times expenses assumes that you will never run out of money if you never withdraw anything more than 4% per year. Okay. So another way to be more conservative is to say, okay, I need to hit my number and only withdraw 3% per year. Okay. And so or 2% per year. That's another way to be more conservative. So you can look at it either way. Unless a miracle happens, the shit's going to hit the fan. The shit is going to hit the fan, because all these Lego movies that Iran is putting out, I don't care if the melon felon says, okay, yeah, so war's over. Yeah, war's over. It's over now. It's over. We won. Yeah, USA. Iran's like, look, match. It's over when we say it's over. We're going to say it's over when you get the point that you will never, ever, ever do this again. Because we've been effing with them for a while now, right? Y'all know that, right? They about tired of it. And I don't blame them. I do not blame them. All right. So this is important for our community, right? It hits differently for us, right? We tend to start off with less inherited wealth, right? We always have more economic risk because our unemployment rates are always higher. We are always the last hired, the first fired, right? And now that, that probably was not the case with government jobs because they had to follow the law. But look at where we're at. And so unless you work for a state or a city government, federal government, again, here we go with the highest unemployment rates. The last time Black folks had a high unemployment rate? Oh, right. The last time the Mellon felon was in office. So what Nick Cannon is talking about, and that white girl he hanging out with, what's her name? Who spoke at the RNC? I don't know. She tries to talk Black, but she looked white. I don't know who she is. Anyway, these Black MAGA, I just don't get it. Right? They act like reality is not reality. Like we don't have more economic risk. Well, maybe for Nick Cannon, who grew up on Disney, he never grew up, right? Because he's always had money. He probably doesn't remember a time because mommy and daddy was taking care of him before that, right? So what's different for us is that with FIRE, as opposed to traditional thinking, is that it gives you speed, it gives you control, it gives you options a lot faster. All right. You don't need extreme FIRE. You need strategic FIRE. Key moves, right? Increase income with like side hustles, right?
Digital consulting.
Right. Digital downloads, low expenses to get these things started, right? You can consult. You can create things that people want to download, right? You can create a whole side hustle. Lower your expenses. Lower your expenses. That is always key. Again, because we keep saying it's not the amount of money you make, it's the amount of money you spend. And the lack of money you save and invest, right? So moving abroad, I think was key to us, right? Like
there's a game changer,
right? Because there was no way that we could have retired when we retired and stayed in the United States. We've said this often, right? But we just could not have. We would have had to sell our house, maybe buy a 1-bedroom condo or something like that we could just pay off with what was the equity in our house. And still, it would not have been a fun life. It would not have been a fun life, right? And so moving abroad could be your geo arbitrage, to create the life that you want on less money, right? So you can create like hybrid income. For us, a little money from YouTube, a little money consulting, right? A little money from doing our programs, our courses, and our challenges, right? So investments also. So light work, it's work.
Yeah.
YouTube is work, y'all. We got to research. We got to know stuff. we got to make sure we're coming to you correct, right? But it's not work like working for the man. It really isn't. It doesn't feel that way. It feels more like we are building community that sometimes we want to take a break from. Right? And when I mean a break, I don't mean a long break. I mean like maybe, one Sunday here and there, which we do. We put out, we do that from time to time, especially when we're traveling. But it doesn't feel like work until it's tax time. That feels like work, right? That feels like work. Anyway, so you want to lower your expenses, right? You want to increase your income. You want to focus on cash flow, all right? The goal is not zero work. Well, your goal could be zero work, but the goal is zero dependency. You do not want to depend on any one income stream, be it your W-2 job, be it one pension, one Social Security check, right? You do not want to have to depend on one income stream. So zero dependency on one thing. All right. All right. Let's see what you guys are talking about, and then we will let you go. Oh, thank you, Bonita. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are so sweet. And I can't wait to see you in person at our meetup. Y'all, we are so excited. Oh, Amber Rose, that's the woman's name. She does not identify as black. So as far as I'm concerned, she ain't black. If she says she ain't black, she ain't black. And the only way you can hype it is if you like the video this week. Oh, okay. This is a conversation you guys are having amongst yourself. Oh, you remember Susie Orman talking about her background.
Hmm.
Okay. A friend just moved to Avairu and said she felt a huge weight fall off of her shoulders. I want to be stress and weight free. Yes, 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 John. So are you and Benita moving to Avairu? Avairu.
No, they were moving somewhere else. They were moving out towards the water.
Towards Cascais?
They're in Cascais.
Okay.
Because they got the dogs.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, they could have dogs up in Avairu as well. So I keep pronouncing it two ways because it depends. It's a dialect thing. It's a dialect thing. So people from some parts of Portugal say Avairu. Some people from other parts of say Aveiro. Aveiro. So yeah, yep. Susie Orman worked for years as a waitress. You know what? I bet you dollars to donuts that woman did not have any money until she started hyping her book on how to get out of debt or something. My friend is trying to join but keeps asking for a password. To join what, Bonita, baby? I don't if she's trying to become a member of if she's trying to become a member of our Black Utopia channel member, she has to be logged in to YouTube. So I'm not sure what you're asking. People are afraid of the unknown. People stop it and put your big girl bloomers on and let's get with the program. Seriously, it is not that you don't have to make the 100% right decision your first time out. Okay. It is okay to move someplace and say, you know what, this is not for me. And it might not be that the country is not for you. It might be that city or that town is not for you. Okay. So I don't want people to get so caught up in the move that you forget about the life, right? The move is just one event, and then there's life abroad. And so concentrate on what you want your life abroad to look like, okay? And that will help because then you'll have a clear image in your mind of what you want. It's real easy to get caught up. You visit someplace and like, ooh, I can live here. Ooh, I can live here.
Yeah,
ooh, I can live here. Everywhere Rick and I go, we're like, ooh, for the most part. Not everywhere, but at least 80% of the places we go, we're like, ooh, we can live here. Seriously. What words of encouragement and wisdom do you have for those in survival mode and the mindset of those of us in that position? By the way, happy Easter. Happy Easter to you too, sweetheart. We have been there. And for me, it was really important to stay focused and keeping my eye on the prize. And so I had a planner, a digital planner on my iPad that I got it from a template from one of the folks that I was coaching with. But I really made it my own by, Portugalizing it with a lot of the decoration on it were pictures of Portugal and other things that became part of my vision board. And so every single night, I was writing out what I wanted our life to look like, what I wanted our Black Utopia to look like, even though I was still working and having to deal with all of that stuff and those people, and especially some of the volunteers. It was just, oh, Lord. Anyway, and I can't tell you that I did not cry every night to every other night. I can't tell you that because it would be a lie. But the other thing that I did when I would take my Calgon baths is also close my eyes and feel the feeling, really feel the feeling that I will have when I'm living the life that I envision. And I sit there in that and see myself and try to be there in the moment and feel it in my body, because that helps relieve stress as well as put that positive energy out into the universe so that the universe can cooperate. My CD earned a little bit over 1,000 and it will mature in July. The CD rate is 4.35, not bad. Do you think it would be wise to renew my CD for another year? Hey, Wanda White. So I don't know your situation, but this is what I would think of. When would you need that money? It's only 1,000. Now, to me, that's only 1,000. But I don't know what that means to you. Okay. And so one of the things that we suggest is doing laddered, LADD, right? ERED, laddered CDs. In other words, let's just take the $1,000 and let's just say this is all of your emergency fund. And your emergencies are not going to be that big because it's $1,000, right? But it's a nice round number. So let's start there. I might put, 250 in a 1-year CD, 250 in a 9-month CD, 250 in a 6-month CD, and 250 in a 3-month CD. And then every 3 months, something is maturing. Now, obviously, the 1-year CD is going to be the one that probably has the higher interest rate that you're talking about. And the 3-month CD is not going to have as high of an interest rate. So you have to take that into account as well. But again, without knowing your circumstances or anything else, if you're just talking about in general, because of the way the world is, I don't think the banks are going to fail like that in a year. I think they could fail eventually if we keep on this path. But I don't think that that's going to happen in a year, babe. And if it does, just take your money out and take the penalty before the fit really hits the sham, right? Don't you think that prices will drop globally since the melon felon is impacting all markets and economies? The reason why I think the prices are going to drop in the United States, CK, housing prices, is because don't nobody want to live there. That's what I'm thinking. All of the immigration that we used to get that helps put a pressure on the housing market is not there anymore. And so that's what I'm thinking, that they have less buyers. And so less buyers, then it's a buyer's market, right? But I could be wrong. And yeah, maybe it could affect housing prices all over the globe, but I'd say it's going to affect the places that don't nobody want to live more. Don't nobody want to live in the United States. Nobody who's not in there wants to live in the United States, right? And just like Angie said, because they're full of shit. They said this was not the news they expected to hear. I was asked if I plan to do this. Talking about her retirement. I did tell them on April 1st, it was not April Fool's. They were the fool. When my friend retired last year, her friends kept asking her if she would get a job. Isn't that the opposite of retiring? Or is it just me? I asked her what kind of friends does she have, right? But Rashida said that her friends kept saying that to her as well. Of course, she was very young though. She was only 39 or 40 years old. And I don't know how old your friend is, but I can kind of understand if you're like still in your 30s or, maybe 40, 41. But anyway, dude posted on his social media platform, open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Then signed off. Praise be to Allah. His insanity never ends. Wait a minute. Who posted that? Melon? He didn't post thanks for the attention to this matter. He's such an idiot. It's like he read some kind of business how-to book, to sound authoritative or something. And thanks to for your attention to this matter. I mean, who says that? That's just goofy. Thank you, thank you. Is it Shinda? I think it's Shinda. Please forgive me, Marshall. I see that. If I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but welcome.
Welcome.
Yes, new member. And so, yeah, we get together every Sunday before we go live, about an hour before we go live. We get together and we chitty chat in a private Zoom. So just look on our channel under the posts. And as a member, you will be able to see that link. And a member for 5 months. Angie, that's true. The Canadian snowbirds are giving up their homes here.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, thank you, Angie. Thank you again. All of our money, everything that's donated, either whether you're buying us a coffee, right? Or if you are giving us a super thanks or super chat, all of that money goes to our scholarship fund, and we thank you so much. I know that I'm behind in my emails, but I don't know. Somebody said they're emailing me every week, and I have not seen any of them. So I've really got to check to see what is going on with our email. Hopefully, they're not being sent to junk. Hopefully they're not. But if you need a scholarship, we do have a waiting list right now. But go ahead and send us an email. You don't have to give us a story. Just let us know that you need one. We know that you've got integrity and that you wouldn't ask if you didn't need one. Orange Man posted that. And so, hey, Greta, I didn't see you there. Thank you for helping out. And did anyone hear about Trump being admitted to Walter Reed? We heard that he was rushed to the hospital. Didn't we hear that?
I heard that behind the scenes.
Yeah, I heard that. So anyway, yes, just send us an email. You can get our email address on our website, ourblackutopia.com. You can get our email address, send us an email, put scholarship in the subject line, and I will put you on the list. All right. Happy Easter, y'all. We're going to let you go. I hope this helped. All right. Because FIRE is not about retiring early. Obviously, for a lot of us, it's too late for the early part. Right. Oh, Jeffrey.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Hey there. Are you back? Are you back yet? So FIRE is not about retiring early. It's about never being forced to work again. That's what FIRE is about, all right? Never being forced to work again. And for us, that's not a luxury. That's a strategy, y'all, all right? It's a strategy. And we want that for you too. Thank you, Jeffrey, for the super sticker money. What moves you make or the choices made today are not for the present version of yourself. Indeed. They're for tomorrow's version of yourself. Exactly. For you to be in a better place, right? Be a bit selfish with your time, your mind, and your energy to achieve that goal. True.
True words of wisdom.
True. Because for some of us, we're not able to save what we can because we are giving other family members too much of our money. And I know it's hard to say no. And they know that you find it hard to say no as well. But the longer you don't say no is the longer you will have to work. Remember, every dollar is a unit of freedom. And you can measure that however you want. As a matter of fact, in our Ready to Retire Toolkit, we have a link. I think it's in there. I know it's in Beyond the Blank. We have a link to a calculator that lets you know the real cost of whatever it is you want to purchase. And when I say the real cost in hours, days, months, or years of your time. Yeah. Yeah. And when you're tired, every minute counts. Every minute counts. Right, Jeffrey? Thank you so much. And with that, you all, I think that's a good place to leave it. Happy Easter.
Happy
We will
Easter.
see you on Thursday. Of course, I think it's a regular Thursday for Thursday Short.
Yes.
All of the information that you need, y'all, to do this thing is in the description below. Okay. Look in the description below. Information on our meetup, information how to become a member of the channel, information, Move Abroad Toolkit is there, as well as information on how to sign up for Beyond the Bling, our financial freedom program for late bloomers, just like ourselves, how to book a call with us. All of that information is in the description below. If you just see a little bit of the description, hit that more. It says more, and then the whole description will open up. All right. We love you guys. Thank you. Share this information with a friend, and we'll see you on Thursday.